96, 97, Topps Chrome Refractor, Kobe Bryant, Black Label. As of today, the bidding is over $1 million on this
Are the
card.
refractors numbered?
No. It's just like the equivalent of a silver. But the pop report's got to be pretty low, and I got to assume this is the only Black Label refractor in existence. Maybe one other one, but it's very hard to get a Black Label grade, and this person literally hit the jackpot. I mean, this has got to be the biggest Black Label sale, because I think Black Label's, 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago? They had the pristine 10, and then they upped it to if you get all 4 of them, it's Black Label. So I think this
how many
will
Black
be
Labels have you had?
None. 0.
And all the cards that you've submitted to
one.
Beckett, you've never had one?
Not one.
I've never had one. You ever had one, C-Rad?
No.
Man, it's crazy that card got a Black Label.
It is crazy.
But I don't know.
Beautiful card.
It is. I'm obviously looking at a scan or a photo of it. It does look clean.
Yeah, it looks, and it's, those Kobe cards can have some greening going on with them, especially the base. This one doesn't look like that. It definitely looks like what they say, pack fresh, when people put in their listings. It definitely looks pretty clean.
2 years ago, what do you think that card was? Raw.
Raw? Probably 3,000, 4,000.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I looked at I found our Kobe that we have. We have a PSA 10 Kobe. I went back and we bought it in 2018 for $900, and it's now going for $50,000. So, I mean, the appreciation of these things are the appreciation of these things are ridiculous right now.
Yeah, he said 50 with a 50.
That's what some of them have sold. I mean, I don't know if they got paid, but
you said it very casually. Like, you're all, yeah, bought it 2 years ago for $9. It's going for like 50 grand. Just another day at the office.
There's a lot of them that I sold that.
But what is? I mean, I get it. I think we're uncharted territories at this point when it comes to the market. But I don't see cards like that going down in value. I don't see the blue chip, like the Kobe Bryant rookies and the LeBron James and the Jordans and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. I don't see those cards going down.
I don't see them either, but this is, and this, I think the PSA 10 base had a pop report of 800. So, I mean, that's really low. Obviously the refractors are probably even lower because they were harder to hit. So that this is, definitely a blue chip investment. Million, good investment? I don't know. We'll see. My bigger issue with what's going down here is that I think somebody told, and this is allegedly, that graders make anywhere from 60,000 to 80,000, right? So this person who decided, and this is probably before the boom, that gave this card a Black Label, this grader, basically changed somebody's life. So we're at the point now where these graders are changing people's lives, right? So that's where I have kind of an issue with transparency, right? I can't buy a house and not have an inspection report on the house, not find out when the house was built, not find out anything about it if I buy a house for this price. But for a card, I don't know who graded it. I don't know when it was graded. I mean, sometimes you can find it on the BGSs when it was graded, but I don't know who graded it. So this is the thing. I mean, they say that none of these graders know what cards are coming across their desk. They don't know, so there's no way that they can collude. But, there's a lot of money to be made by grading a card from, hey, let's make it a 9 to a Black Label. Let's make it a 7 to a 9. Like, a lot of money is at stake now. A couple years ago, maybe it was only $5,000. Where okay, that's one mortgage payment, one. Well, in California, maybe somewhere else, it's a couple months, but one mortgage payment. But now it's like you can buy a house with what this grader decides to do with your card.
So, what do you think the market value difference between a BGS 9.5 and that Black Label 10 would be?
Well, we have some examples here.
Man, the segue. I mean,
for example, a Topps LeBron James PSA 10 sold for $44,000. A Black Label sold for $89,000. That's and that's actually in December. So that could probably be, you could probably mark that up to $110,000, double. So that person made $50,000.
Okay.
$50,000 extra.
So double. So that.
But that's on that specific card.
Okay.
We'll go through more examples. A 2012 Prism Silver Kawhi Leonard PSA 10, $23,000. A Black Label Silver Prism, $60,000. That's a $30,000 swing, right? This is the one that could be easily done, right? So we have a Zion base PSA 10, $1,200. A Black Label, $11,000. That is a $10,000 swing on a base card. And they could pop those off because it's not short printed, right? They could pop a few of those off a day. You're just giving somebody $10,000, right? So I'm not saying anything shady is happening, but where there is money involved, there is evil involved, right? So I would like to see in the future these companies, maybe if a card hits a certain level, like if they know a Kobe Bryant that comes in could be $1 million card, there needs to be some documentation. There needs to be somebody out there that's like, this guy's grading it. Even if they don't want to release names, employee 265 is grading this card at this time on this day, and this is why this grade has.
Or
this grade.
what if there's checks and balances internally where every Black Label that is given, it has to go to a senior grader for like a second opinion.
Right.
Somebody who his job could be on the line if like there's too many Black Labels getting pushed out. But I mean, remember it wasn't that long ago when there was like a story floating around, maybe 3 years ago, where there was that one guy who was submitting cards to BGS and he was just racking off Black Labels. He was just, I mean, it was like he had like a 90% success rate on Black Labels, where again, I get back to the fact that me and Doug been doing this for 10 years. We have probably sent in not a ton of cards, maybe 500 to 800 cards, and we've never had a Black Label. But there was this one dude who was basically 90% success rate on Black Labels.
I mean, the story came out that he had rock hard reviews on some of those, so he basically did rock hard review on thousands of cards. I mean, still it's odd, but yeah. I mean, he rock hard reviewed a lot of them and then only submitted his Black Labels to get slapped.
Okay.
So that's why it looked like it was a high success ratio on that.
Okay, again, how many Black Labels have you had?
Yeah.
Like,
guy has a really good eye. But yeah, I mean, I'm just pointing the fact. I'm not saying it's happening, but I just wanted to bring up that there's a lot of money being exchanged when you get a 9 to a 10 to a Black Label. So, even if it's one guy that determines what grader gets the car, I would like to see the process. I would like to see who gets it. Like I said, I can't buy a house without talking to a realtor, without talking to that person's realtor, without getting an inspection report, without having this 60-page report of this house, because it's a high-dollar item. So why can't we have that with high-dollar cards? It's too easy for somebody to screw the system. That's it. I mean, right here you have a company that HGA, which have people been talking about how great their slabs look. It's a cross between it's the human grading something. What's the HGA stand for? It's human grading something. But they came out and they did this McGuire at 9.5, and obviously it's not centered. They gave it a 9 on centering. It's not centered, and then on further example, the corner is dinged.
Hybrid
grading something. But people love the look of their slabs, which they match the color of the card. They let you pick what color you want the label to be. Great looking card, but they already had a schlub here. Apparently the company dinged the card themselves, felt bad, so the human element came in, not the computer element, and gave this card a 9.5 that didn't deserve a 9.5. So these are things that happen.
And I don't know why they would still slab it. I think, why wouldn't you just handle that from a customer service standpoint, reach out to the customer and say, hey, this is what happened. Like, we're going to either replace the card or give you the value of the card based on this grade. But why would you still slab it and now you put it out into the market? and
That don't look good, bro.
it don't look good for your company. And it
especially when you're a new guy to the block.
it also looks like you just wanted to avoid the hassle of dealing with the customer service aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably should have tried to buy that guy another card. But I mean, those Maguires aren't short printed. You probably would have been the way to handle it. But I just, I have a lot of scenarios that run through my mind. Like, say I talked to Dan about this before we did the show too. Is that like, what if you spent 5 years and you combed through your collection and you picked out 200, you magnifying glass, looked at the surface, you picked out 200 cards. You're like, these are all going to gem 10 because centering's great, surface is great, and then you send them into PSA, and then this guy's giving you 10s. He's got 50 10s, and then he's just like, I can't give this guy any more 10s. Like, because it's the human element. Like, maybe the jealousy. Like, this guy's I've already given him $1 million in his grades, so then the rest of the cards I'm giving him 9s. Because it's the human element of this, right? And that's where I think you could borderline go down the shady track.
Or we talk about a lot. Like, does the pop report come into play?
Right.
Is it like, hey, we've given the last 300 Zion Prism cards that we've graded, like 90% of them have gotten 9.5s or 90% of them have gotten 10s. We need to level out the pop report a little bit and maybe send out a memo that grade them a little tougher. Maybe give some 8s, 8.5s, 9s. We can't just oversaturate the 9.5s or 10s.
Right. Now I know you got the 6.5 in the works, but what are your thoughts on like what we've been talking about with grading?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you said with what you guys have been saying, bro. It's like, I had a long discussion with people in the chat room on Friday about HGA, because they were like, with people feeling like PSA and BGS having a monopoly on grading services, they were like, there's something's got to give at some point. And I was like, yeah, I mean the HGAs look nice. Some of them like really do actually look nice, and I get it. Like we talked about it, like having a computer element of it, where it's like it measures it out, the dimensions and the centering like exactly. So like how it should be perfect centering if you do it through a computer instead of just like having a human do it, right? But man, that's a big hill to climb to try to overthrow be bigger than PSA and BGS.
Yeah, I mean right now there's definitely a market for more grading companies, but it really comes down to transparency.
Yeah.
Look at the backlog of PSA. Look at the backlog of BGS. I mean, if you HGA, they have a good looking product.
Yeah.
Don't agree with what they did with the Maguire.
Yeah, that's silly, dude.
But they can be another option just because it takes so long with the main two.
Yeah.
That there's room for more grading companies.
There is, but you gotta get long-term sustainability and trust. And right now, the way they just did that,
already looks.
I wasn't thinking of ever sending them the cards, but if I ever thought about it now, I would never do it.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? I mean, if you're a company that's new to the party and you're doing grading, you're gonna be under the microscope. You're going to be, I mean, people are going to be looking to troll you and looking to basically break you down at any possibility. Yep. And I mean, it doesn't look good.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would like to hear you guys' your experiences with grading, good or bad, your thoughts. I want to hear it in the comments below, like something that like maybe you didn't think was going to happen because, sometimes it feels like a lottery when it shouldn't be. And especially with a lot of money being thrown around. And once again, this whole segment was not to bash grading companies. It was to bring to light the possibility of what could happen and the amount of money that this changes when it does happen.
Yep. Because there's so much unknown.
Right.
Like we've been talking about this whole segment. There's so much unknown with the actual process of grading. It's like, but it can change somebody's life significantly if they have a 10 or a 9.5 or a pristine 10 or a black label. You know what I mean?